And good to go.
Okay, Project Healing Waters fly tying. Tonight we're tying a Mini Muddler. It's about half a muddler. This one's tied in a number 2 Gamakatsu B10S hook. But tonight we're actually going to tie it on a number 6 TMC 5263 hook. So we're going to put that in the vise. Got to tighten that up a little bit. And let me tilt this camera down just a skosh more. There we go. They look pretty centered.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start off with red ultra thread. You can use any color you want to, because you're going to go to something different when you tie up the deer hair. When I go to the deer hair, I'm going to go to GSP 100. And I'm going to be using a little bit of Col de Canard and a chartreuse. But I'd say you could probably use any chartreuse, yellow, orange. Chartreuse to me seems to work a little bit better. Here's the hook we're using. And on this particular fly, I might add just a little bit of ripple ice fiber in chartreuse. This stuff is fabulous. You don't need much of it. It just really lights up the water. We're also going to use ultra wire, medium copper. You can use a little glue if you want to, Zapagas medium CA. I'm not going to use it tonight. We're going to use gold sulky. Let's see, anything else? Oh, and bleached deer hair. I have a patch with 2 different colors. So I'm going to use one for the collar and one for the head. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to wrap the hook about 1/3 of the way back from the eye. We're going to leave the front part of that hook open. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're going to use turkey feather too. About right in here. Nice even body back to about right here. Here's the turkey feather I'm using, and I already have a piece selected out, about yay much. I'm going to cut that out. So now we start with the turkey feather. We want about 1 hook length. So we're going to go back to about right here. Now here, we set the edge of the feather right on top of the hook. And watch what I do with my fingers, because I'm going to very carefully push or compress all these fibers down on top of each other instead of splaying them around the hook. So I'm going to push them straight down, and then I'm going to wrap 2 fairly loose wraps around there and then pull it tight. And what that does, it keeps the feather nice and solid, straight up and down on that hook. See how that works? So the feather is actually compressed downward instead of being squished around. Now we're going to tie in a little bit of copper wire. And then we're going to bring our gold foil in. You'll have to excuse me just a minute. The stuff does get wrapped around. I bought that I bought that bobbin that Royce suggested, but this stuff really does get rather kinky if you're not careful. So I would recommend stopping just every now and again and letting it untwist as you wrap the body. Take it all the way back. Now a nice even coat of thread back there. And now we're going to take and we're going to change threads at this point. So whip finish, just a couple of quick wraps, and that's all we need. Now we're going to wrap the body with foil. And we're going to go back over it just to fill in any gaps that we might not have had in there, might have left. And then back to the front again. So we get a good, nice gold body. Now we're going to start our GSP. And this is in white. And because I'm not going to start it for any real length, I'm going to wrap this thread around itself 4 or 5 times. And then that locks the thread wraps. It's not going to come undone with just a few turns. GSP is strong, but it's very slippery. And you've really got to have it wrapped down well or it can slip out. So now at this point, I'm going to take that green CDC, and I've already prepared a couple of pieces. We're going to brush it forward and tie that to where it just covers a part of the base of that tail. You want it to kind of flay out underneath the deer here. And now I am going to add a few strands of the ripple ice. And it's okay if a couple of the strands stretch out behind that just a little bit. You don't need a lot of this. I guess you need a little more than I've got. Falling out of my hand faster than I can fix it up here. There we go. I've only got about 3 strands out there. And cut these up so that they were not looped anymore. Good. Now we want to take our deer hair and we're going to select out a good number 2 pencil diameter of deer hair. This is going to be for the collar. So this is the bunch that I have selected. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. I'll do this off camera so that you guys don't see deer hair flying all over the place. Put it in a hair stacker. So we come up with a nice little bunch like this. Now I want this to go about right like this. So holding this in my left hand, very carefully compressing it, I measure where I want these butts to go, and then I'm going to cut them off sharply. I might have just a couple of short ones in here, so they may peel off. Then you put this down right where you want to tie down at. You take 1, 2, and 3 loops right at the base. See that right there? When you get 3 loops in there, then you can pull it down nice and tight with that gel spun. You can put a little glue in there if you want to, but now I'm going to wrap through the butts. Kind of wrap that down nice and tight. Wrapping it through the butts gives you more strength. So you don't actually have to have, and now you got a nice bushy wing. That may be just a touch too much deer hair. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to wrap that copper wire. Well, copper wire was a ribbing, and now it's not. Now we're going to take another glump of deer hair. We're going to wrap our thread right here. Now I'm going to go with the white stuff. Just about as much. There's no need to stack this bunch. However, I am going to cut off some of the tips. So I have deer hair like so. And I'm just going to take and cut off some of these tips because we just don't need them. There. Now we're going to take this and we're going to wrap it about in half. We're going to wrap it once, twice, and 3 times right at the end of where I finished tying off that other clump, the collar. Now with that wrapped 3 times, now we're going to press the deer hair around the shaft of the hook. So it's nice and evenly distributed. And then we're going to pull it and we're going to spin it. So it's nice and tight. And then we're going to weave our thread through that deer hair to the eye of the hook. Push back the deer hair, compress it back away from the eye a little bit. Pull the thread, once you pull the deer hair back, pull the thread straight out. And then we want to wrap a nice little head right in there. And then we're going to whip finish. Hold that deer hair back as best you can. There we have a nice little ball of fur. We can fluff it up just a little bit. Now, I questioned the intelligence of putting razor blades in your hands, but I'm going to use a razor blade to turn this fly upside down, and I'm going to make a nice clean cut, if I can see what I'm doing past this camera, just above the eye, sawing this back and forth a little bit. Want a nice clean base. Now we're going to clean up some of this stuff back in here a little bit. Now we're going to go to the front, to the top, and we're going to go up at almost the same angle that our collar is. We don't want too shallow a cut. But we slide this back and forth until we get up to about right in here. Be careful not to cut into your collar. And then to the side. Same thing here. To the other side. There. And now we're going to just kind of smooth out these corners. Now, if we hold the collar down, we can see some of those base fibers we've got. We want to kind of clean those up the best we can with a razor blade until we can get at least the majority of them gone. After that, they kind of blend in a little. Now we can go in with our scissors and we can cut away some of these bottom fibers that we have in here. Crimp a little bit. And there we have our Mini Muddler. And again, you can use any color, but I found that green really seems to work well.
Well, Jim, you're an artiste. I can tell you that.
And there you go.
So I'm going to have to put a safety warning at the beginning of this video.
And you got to use a sharp razor blade. After you've used that razor blade 5 or 6 times, it's you got to throw it away and get another one.
Yeah, definitely could tell that was brand new.
Yeah, it's got to stay sharp to get a good job on that done.
And an electric razor just doesn't work worth a hoot.
No, electric, no. Oh, but there you go. That's the Mini Muddler.
Looks good. Yeah, not all Mini Muddlers are made the same. Some have ribs, some don't. No biggie.
Yeah.
Fish don't care.
This was supposed to have had a rib. The tire screwed up.
Alrighty, well, I'm going to let this sit for another second here, and I'm going to stop it so I got a good screenshot.